Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Behind the Zmirot of the Young Israel of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. My pleasure. I'm Rabbi Edward Davis. So now we're going to speak about Yedid Nefesh, which is a composition that traditionally is ascribed to one Rabbi Eliezer Azkiri. We're not sure about the pronunciation of his last name. Some have it as Kira, Azkiri. Okay. He lived 1533 to 1600, born in Constantinople, now Istanbul, but back then, Constantinople. And he had a great yearning to be in Eretz Yisrael, so he moved to Tzfat. And he lived in Tzfat and died in Tzfat and is buried in Tzfat. He was a very big Kabbalist. He was revered by the Ari, part of that whole general culture of Kabbalistic Tzfat of the 16th century. And he wrote other Perushim on various parts of Tanakh and Gemara, but he's more well known for composing Yedid Nefesh. According to modern academia, there was one fellow, a professor, who found references to Yedid Nefesh dating back 100 years before Azkiri, but we're not mentioning him, and don't tell Art Scroll that it might be so. But we're giving Azkiri full credit for Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, modern, very modern introduction to Kabbalat Shabbat. It was introduced to the Young Israel of Hollywood Friday night services in the post-Rabbi Davis era, or error, as the case may be, forcing Rabbi Davis to become the Sephardi rabbi, where there is no custom of saying Yedid Nefesh on Friday night. So in most Sidurim, you'll find Yedid Nefesh as included in the Su'udot Shlishit. Su'udah Shlishit has Yedid Nefesh. The Siddur of Rashi mentions that singing Zmirot is a minhag kasher v'yafeh. It's a beautiful traditional minhag custom. And really, song as an intrinsic flavor to all of our traditions in Yiddishkeit. The last page of Mesachet Megillah mentions Halome Beli Zimra. Learning a text without singing it is, according to Tosfot, a recipe for forgetting it and not being able to remember it on the tip of your tongue. So Zmirot are very important traditions, and I encourage everyone to sing Zmirot at every Shabbat meal. This Zmirah is very Kabbalistic notion, and it traditionally has a different kinui, a different nickname for Hashem, never mentioning Hashem by name, except in the acrostic. Yedid Nefesh Yud K Vav K. So, but that usually indicates the composer. Hashem did not compose Yedid Nefesh. Okay, but we are attributing everything to Hashem. And one of my most favorite words in the Hebrew language is the word Yedid. We have been instructed. We learned from day one that the Hebrew language is based on the principle of shorish, a root word, like the word chaver for a friend comes from the root chet bet resh, which means the chaber, to connect, to making the connections. Hence you have machberet, connection of papers, a chibor, a connection of words, and chaver, a friend. But Yedid does not have a shorish. It is created by combining two words together, yad, yad, hand in hand, envisioning two friends walking down the street, holding hands together. That's a Yedid. You might feel that that's kind of chutzpahdik of referring to Hashem as our Yedid, but not so, especially on Shabbat. Yasis alayich elokayach kimsot chatan al kala, we say in the Chadodi, paraphrasing a verse from Novi, that the relationship between Hashem and Bnei Yisrael is like a chatan and kala, a bride and groom. So consequently, there's no closer relationship in the human species other than the husband and wife relationship. So Kimsot Chatan al Kala, we are in correct form in referring to Hashem as a Yedid. And here I when you feel that, I quote Camus, which, I don't know, Albert Camus, the French atheist, to include him in this discussion. Well, it became a song. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Walk beside me and be my friend. And that is Yedid Nefesh, summing up in every transformation of referring to Hashem in this fashion as He is our friend. I can rely on Him for everything. And every stanza has a different expression for Hashem. Yedid Nefesh, Hadur Na'eh Ziv Ha'olam, majestic, beautiful radiance of the universe. Vatik, all worthy one. Chavivi, my beloved. So all these expressions are recorded for Hashem, and it's indicated in our relationship, our strong, loving relationship. The Rambam says, when we define the love that we ought to feel for Hashem, we use the love and lover and beloved, as it expressed in Shir HaShirim, as it expressed in the Navi, as expressed in the Chadodi. So it's perfect for Shabbat. There are quotes here that are definitely Tanakh related. In one stanza it says, Kel na rafana la, which we know, we recognize in the Torah, that when Miriam spoke Lashon Hara about her brother, Moshe prayed to Hashem that Hashem should heal her. A very, very short blessing. Kel na rafana la. But twice in that verse is the word na. There is a historic difference of opinion between Rashi and Targum Onkelos as to the meaning of the word na. Rashi consistently throughout Chumash, especially in Breshit, when the word na is used, he's quick to say Lashon Bakasha. This is the language of please, bevakasha. Na is please. Every time na is used in the Torah, Targum Onkelos says na ke'an, which is the Aramaic for achshav, now. Na doesn't mean please, it means now. Like in the Korban Pesach, you can't eat the meat na, lo tachel alav na. It can't be na the way it is now. It has to be cooked, it has to be broiled. So, but here in this pasuk, kel na, rafan na la, it brings the two opinions together. God, please heal her now. Who is the composer talking about? Our soul. It needs Hashem to remedy, to bring us, to embrace us, to love us. Meshoch avdecha el rotzonecha. God, you take the first step, and we will respond accordingly. But we really want you to take the first step. Minofet suf v'chol ta'am. There's suf is a reference to honey, a honeycomb. Honey is ancient. It's the sweetest of all natural ingredients, and yet the taste doesn't linger too long either. And it also is detrimental to an infant. So it has to be later in life that you can introduce the sweet. And Neve Tzuf is where my daughter lives in Israel. And so that's constantly an expression of honey. And that also sweetens the relationship between Hashem and Bnei Israel. There's also a reference of Ben Ahuvecha. The Ahuv is Avraham, clearly. The Haftorah and Lech Lecha mentions the whole Haftorah is because of one word, Avraham Ohavi, Avraham who loves me. And that is the game changer in our relationship with Hashem, that we love Hashem. Then finally, in the end of the Zmirot, it mentions Kiva Moed. What is the Moed? The Moed is a time, but it's a special time. It's the time for Geula. Kiva Moed is that we anticipate the Geula, the redemption of the Jewish people, and that will be the Moed to end all Moadim, and be great. Be great. Moed. Therefore, Yedid Nefesh is included in Sudah Shlishit. It comes at the end of Shabbat, where we can embrace Hashem, love Hashem, but no yira. There's no factor of fear Hashem. You should love the Lord your God. And this is the total expression of Yedid Nefesh to indicate to us that we need to love Hashem and anticipate what's going to happen. The love sickness that we have when we miss Hashem. We need to incorporate Hashem in our daily lives every day, but especially on Shabbat, because like it says in my Yedidut, Me'ein Olam Haba, it's the glimpse from the world to come. That's the only time we have an indication of what the world to come is like, if we experience Shabbat the way it's supposed to be. Every day of the week has a partner. Sunday has Monday, Tuesday has Wednesday, Shabbat is alone. We are the partner for Shabbat. Shabbat is God's gift to us. Oti Yolmei Ad. It is an eternal sign of God's presence when we can incorporate Shabbat into our existence. A healthy, beautiful Shabbat I wish to everybody. Embrace Hashem, love Hashem, enjoy Hashem's presence in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.